The best back in the draft, and many analysts' number one player in the entire class, Jeremiyah Love is the real deal. Lightning fast with masterful patience and a full repertoire of moves, Love leaves a path of devastation in his wake. If you were building a running back from the ground up, you'd first want speed, always a defense's biggest threat. Next, you'd add vision, allowing them to understand the play and find their way to daylight. Then comes agility and the ability to make a player miss. And finally, when the defense can be evaded no longer, you need power. Add these together and you get Jeremiyah Love. Handed the ball with double pullers ahead, Love shows great patience to let the blocking open it up, stepping on the accelerator when the gap opens. One-on-one with the safety, his QB already knows he's going to score, pointing to the footballing gods as Love snatches the safety's soul with a nasty spin. A state champion sprinter, anytime he sees green grass ahead, it's going to be house. Let's narrow down our view to his moveset first, because he's got all manner of jukes, spins, and hurdles to lose defenders. Against A&M, this is great vision and juking to find the yards. Patient to the line, he sees the 3-tech swim the guard, straightening his approach angle. Then, spotting the Mike cross back, slows down and gets skinny through the crease. He spots the DB out the corner of his eye, jump cutting the would-be tackler before lowering his pads for the last available yards. Outside zone here versus Miami, and keep your eye on the defensive end. He spots the tackle's movement, feels what's coming, and works back inside, lining Love up for a clean shot. But Love just spins straight off him, leaving the defender grabbing air and making sure to finish the play with power. Back against A&M, and the duo blocking doesn't get the push, and Jeremiyah is forced to dance and make a play. He tries to cut outside, putting him one-on-one with the safety, shedding his tackle, only for 5 more A&M defenders to arrive ready to clean up the play. But Love's got other ideas, cutting back and juking them all, before dragging the final defender for a full 5 yards. Ridiculous. And he can do it all in the passing game too, where even more space plays into his skill set. Love sets his man up right before working left, stiff-arming him clear before immediately jump-cutting the next defender, turning a check down into a chunk play. Getting the ball on screen left here, his guard does a good job to create a free route to the sideline, and now things are going to get dangerous. The first defender he meets gets hurdled, the second blazed past, and the last ran through. Beast. This video is sponsored by PrizePicks. March Madness is here, and the NBA playoffs are right around the corner, and PrizePicks is the best place to win cash while watching live sports. The app is incredibly easy to use. All you have to do is pick more or less on a few player stats, and you're on your way to winning cash prizes. You can play PrizePicks in over 40 states, including California and Texas. So best sign up. Best of all, PrizePicks will give you $50 in lineups when you play your first $5 lineup. Win or lose, you'll get $50 in lineups just for playing. So download the app and use our promo code THINKING to get $50 in lineups now. PrizePicks. It's good to be right. Making a miss is just one part of his game, and Love is truly multi-talented, possessing the game's most breaking skill, speed. A 10.7 100-meter runner as a high school sophomore, Love posted a 4.36 in the 40-yard dash, the kind of credentials that make scouts sit up before they've even seen a single snap. But don't you worry, every bit of it shows up on tape. He's got true home run speed from anywhere on the field. He's quick to spot the cutback lane open on the wide zone, with the defense flowing hard to the outside on short downs. And there's really only one outcome here, breaking both DB's ankles as he takes this in from 68 out. Backed way up on his own 2 this time, Love breaks the game open with that elite speed. Indiana gets too narrow, excited at the chance for 2 points, and the safety isn't ready for Love's acceleration, as he's fast through a crease and to the boundary in an instant. The receiver makes sure there's a lane to the outside, and from here, it's a simple foot race, and not one Love is ever gonna lose. One of the plays they love to take advantage of with his raw speed was this off-tackle run to the short side of the field. Love still slaughters the defense to the edge despite the short distance, and then shows smarts, with a subtle decel turning 11 into 15. This speed to the edge also made him a significant threat in the passing game. Receiving the ball in the swing route, Love shows us his ability to climb the gears, changing pace on the catch and beating the defender to the angle and then running over the next one. And more credentials shown here in the passing game. Running the wheel in the mesh concept, Love finds himself wide open and the target of the play. The ball is a touch out in front, but Love snags it with one hand before bursting to the corner, finishing the play by stiff-arming the safety into the end zone. Raw speed alone doesn't make you dangerous at the next level. What makes Love scary is the patience that sits underneath it. He's great at allowing his blocks to establish and defenders to over-pursue, then finding the crease and hitting the accelerator to daylight. Against A&M, Notre Dame flips the backfield late. An X's and O's wrinkle we'll be covering in an off-season video. Best be subscribed for that. And great patience finds yards. Love tippy-toes to allow the blocks to set up. Then, spotting the tiniest of creases, steps on the gas to fly through the mass of bodies, obliterating both covering defenders' angles for the score. This is more good display of patience and understanding on how blocks will align. There initially appears to be a huge lane outside, but Love can see the linebacker working over hard, waiting for his blocks to set up, and then finding the inside lane behind his guard to the second level. Very smart running. Against USC, more smarts open up a lane to the edge. Love doesn't just rush to the edge here when it looks blocked up inside, knowing the backer can overlap and meet him, so instead stays in tight, drawing in the second level to effectively block themselves. Love knows he has the angle now and bursts into space for an easy first down. Very clever stuff. And back against Syracuse, more patience takes him the distance. No cutback lane available this time, so Love skips down the line, waiting for his blocks to set up. A lot of backs would press the edge here and take the one-on-one with the corner. But Love knows if he waits long enough, his right tackle will seal off a lane, and he can cut back inside to daylight. Fantastic patience to let it set up, and he's wheeling away for another long score. More than just speed, patience, and moves, Love rounds out the skill set by running with terrific power, running over and through defenders with regularity. You really don't want to find yourself on the end of his stiff arm. Indiana completely clogs up the inside and looks to have him dead to rights, but Love makes something out of nothing. He bounces backside, skipping out of the safety's attempt before dodging another with his speed, and then sending a third to the shadow realm, in a stiff that can only be described as Josh Norman PTSD. Late against A&M, and it's power that takes the lead in a tie game. Having just converted a 4th and 1, the Irish feed the hot hand, and Love has a crease to attack. However, there's still a linebacker there ready for him, so Love lowers the shoulder and bulldozes right through him, tumbling in for the score. One defender is rarely enough, and you best hunt as a team if you want to bring him down. An arm tackle will not suffice, and Love rejects the first attempt before carrying the second into the third, dragging them both for 5 more yards. And even when 4 defenders get a piece of him with just 2 yards needed, he's got the muscle to turn it into a score. Great patience to set up the blocks, but a linebacker comes submarining through and collides with Love's legs. However, he somehow shows the balance and strength to eat the hit and direct his momentum to the goal line. He meets the next defender head on, clashing hard in a battle that only sends them both horizontal, but Love remains firmly upright, eating 2 more hits and somehow still keeping his balance before diving for the goal line. Straight superhero shit. Love's game is pretty complete, but there are a few problems to mention. First is in pass protection, where he saw major improvement in 2025, but it still isn't up to NFL standards just yet. There are a couple of true whiffs where the head is over the toes and the technique needs some cleaning up, and he found himself too often waiting on the block and not closing space. Remember kids, pass pro isn't passive. Cleaning this up is a must if he wants to be a true 3-down back in the NFL. Secondly, his decision-making can be a little too patient sometimes and end on the side of hesitancy. 4th and short is not the time for patience, and he needs to commit to these decisions faster. The same can occasionally be said for the open field, where you want to see him put that foot in the ground earlier and just go. Sometimes his patience was a hindrance, but only rarely. And lastly, we have to discuss the Notre Dame offensive line, because they were magnificent in 2025. Love showed plenty outside of this great blocking, but his style was no doubt complemented by their skill set. Projected in the top 5 of the draft, Wherever he plays next season, the bulldozers up front won't be opening the same gaps. Jeremiyah Love is the real deal. The moveset is elite, the speed is genuine, and the patience to let it all work together is rare in a back this young. The pass pro needs some work, and the decision-making can waver in moments you want decisiveness. But these are coachable problems in an otherwise immaculate base. Whoever lands Love gets a back who can hurt you in every single way a runner can. And if the coaching staff can tidy up some of the rough edges, they might just have found themselves a superstar.